phone.
And we're back to books.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lakshmi Singh.
And these are books.
And these are books.
Welcome to books.
On this American book, today we will be reading Tongue Twisters.
Okay, so we were doing the To Sit in Solemn Silence, and then we Googled that's from the Mikado. And then I was thinking, oh, there's other notable Will Gilbert and Sullivan operettas that we could be dipping into for these that are very hard to say.
Oh, no.
So there's a song from, what's this from? The Pirates of Penzance, a comic opera from 1879. There's the song The Major Modern General.
The Pirates of Penzance are good friends of ours.
Yeah.
We love the Pirates.
But
Definitely have seen
they sing it in Star Trek and stuff, and let me see, in popular culture.
And they do Tongue Twisters?
Despicable Me 3.
What?
This is the Minions sing this in Despicable Me 3 for the fans. It's also in The Muppet Show Season 3, Episode 52 with Gilda Radner. Family Guy 2012 cutaway gag episode Killer Queen.
Good. That's a good one.
Peter plays Major General in a community theater production and mumbles all through the opening verse of the song.
Nice.
Veggie Tales. No, this is, you're not going to find everything is taken from this.
What is
everything? The Major Modern General song.
Let's
all right.
Listen.
All right.
And learn.
Do you want to try to? Because I'm pretty good at it, so we should hear someone do it bad first. Probably.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm confident. I'm actually really confident.
Good.
As a matter of fact,
good.
I actually couldn't feel more sure of myself right now.
And the key to this one is speed.
That's the first thing I thought when I gave
also,
this.
Also, yeah, just keeping the words.
I am the very model of a modern major general. Is there a tune for it?
I am the very modern
major general. Of information, vegetable, and animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England, and I quote the fights historical. From Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical. I'm very well acquainted too with matters mathematical. I understand equations both the simple and quadratical. About binomial theorem, I'm teeming with a lot of news. That many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse. Very good at integral and differential calculus. I know the scientific names of beings. Animalculus. Cool word.
When Niles from SNL when Niles from Frasier hosted SNL, he did this song.
I know our mythic history, King Arthur's answer paradox. I answer hard acrostics. I have a pretty taste for paradox. I quote an elegiacs and the crimes of Heliogabalus. In conics, I can floor peculiarities parabolus. I can tell undoubted Raphaels from Gerard Dowson's Zoffanies. I know the croaking chorus from the frogs of Aristophanes. Then I can hum a fugue of which I've heard the music's din afore and whistle all the airs from that infernal nonsense pinafore. I don't know any of these references. I can run a washing bill in Babylonic uniform until in every detail cactus is uniform. In short, in matters vegetable and animal and mineral, I am the very model of a modern major general. I bet my mom knows this really well. Yeah. In fact, dude,
you're not even doing it.
Close it out. I'm trying to get the melody right.
You don't need the melody. The part is trying to say all this stuff.
I'm getting hung up on the music part, though.
I am the very model of a modern major general. I've information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England, and I quote them and I quote the fights historical from Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical. I am very well acquainted with matters mathematical. I understand equations both simple and quadratical. About binomial theorem, I'm teeming with a lot of news, with many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse. I'm very good at integral and differential calculus. I know the scientific names of beings animalculous. In short, in matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a modern major general.
That's crazy. Yeah, I got hung up on the tune. When I was doing it with the music, I was doing real good.
Right, but you weren't saying a lot of the words. You were doing Peter Griffin from 2012's.
Doing a bit of a Peter Griffin. That's sort of a Peter Griffin touch. Sometimes.
I know our mythic history, King Arthur's and Sir Caradox. I answer hard acrostics. I have a pretty taste for paradox. I quote the elegiacs, all the crimes of Heliogabalus. In conics, I can floor peculiarities parabolus.
It's like
Parabolus.
easier if you do it with a meter.
I can tell undoubted Raphaels from Gerard Dow's and Zoffanies. I know the croaking chorus from the frogs of Aristophanes. I can hum a fugue of which I've heard the music's dinaphore, and whistle all the airs from that infernal nonsense pinafore. Then I can write a washing bill in Babylonic cuneiform. Cuneiform, and tell you every detail of Caraticus's uniform. In short, it matters vegetable, animal, and mineral. I am
So it's a long thing.
In fact, I know what is meant by mammalian and ravelin when I can tell at sight a mouse or rifle from a javelin. When such affairs as sorties and surprises I'm more wary at, and when I know precisely what is meant by commissariat.
Do you think people say these as vocal warm-ups?
This one is, I don't know.
For my military knowledge, though I'm plucky and adventurous, has only been brought down to the beginning of the century, but still in matters vegetable and animal and mineral, I am the very model of a modern major general. This is pretty fun. It's pretty fun to do I don't know.
We gotta let Union do it.
Union, take it away. I want to do it. I want to do it all the way
slow,
through.
baby.
I am a modern major general. I've information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England, and I quote the fights historical from Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical.
Yeah. You're done tapping out.
I'm out.
Union, tapping out. Integral and differential calculus.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah, hey, check it out. Check out the Muppets.
It also just makes you sound really smart when you say it.
I am the very model of a modern major general.
Yeah. I'm very well acquainted too with matters mathematical. I understand equations both simple and quadratical. Yeah.
You're just saying
I'm very
that
good
to
at
people.
integral and differential calculus. I know the scientific names of beings animalculous.
Oh, very good. This is just you're saying this to people in conversation. Oh, wow.
How about that?
You do that all on your own? All by yourself?
So yeah, that's one.
Man, that's pretty good. That's like what they sing in the Navy. I feel like gets thrown around a lot in the Navy.
If you're gay.
Yeah, if you get caught being gay, you have to sing that in the shower or something. So everybody pisses on you.
Probably.
You know? That kind of stuff probably goes on in the Navy.
Nah, I mean, it's mainly only gay guys know this, I think. Only weird, archaic gay guys know this.
Archaic gay guys?
Like Niles.
Ancient dead gay guys?
Frasier type guys.
Niles Crane.
Frasier Crane type beat.
Frasier Crane, if you're out there, let us know.
Let me read it as Frasier.
Frasier Crane type beats to study to.
This is Frasier Crane. I'm going to read the Modern Major General's song. I am the very model of a modern Major General. I've information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England, and I quote the fights historical. From Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what to do. Chopped salad and scrambled eggs.
I'm very good at integral and differential calculus. I know the scientific names of beings animalculous. In short, in matters animal and vegetable and mineral, I am the very model of a modern major general.
They're calling again. Frasier Crane. Niles. I haven't watched it enough to do it. I just don't have the kind of voice to do that.
You have to be like,
You have a good Frasier.
Frasier Crane.
Niles.
Niles.
This
Niles.
is Dr. Frasier Crane. Frasier Crane. Hello. Who is this? Who is this? That
Your
sits
voice,
before you.
Conrad, that's your voice.
Who am I?
Conrad, you're doing your regular voice.
What? Me?
That's how you talk.
No.
All the time.
I'm Frasier Crane.
I'm
Frasier
It's
Crane.
me, Frasier Crane.
It is me,
It is I,
Frasier Crane.
Frasier Crane.
Radio's own Dr. Frasier Crane.
The very model of a modern
Major General.
General.
Garrison Keillor. My name is Garrison Keillor.
No, he has a different voice.
What does he sound like?
No. We're saving it.
All right, books.
We're saving it for the Garrison Keillor special episode.
He will be on.
Tune in.
He's going to be
He's
on.
He's going to come on and read his own stories.
We're going to read Prairie Home Companion.
I have copies of.
We're going to ask him about that boy on the special bus. We're going to talk about
the Lutheran picnic and what
London.
happened.
We're going to talk about London, St. Paul, Minnesota extensively, ad nauseum. We're going to talk about the Wicker Shop near Lake Wobegon, and the local pigeons that never seemed to leave the front stoop.
Yeah, I think one of the end games of the show is that Conrad or maybe Union will take up writing folksy stories about a made up childhood somewhere in the USA. Just stuff about
start playing like
some small town, anywhere USA type stories about your childhood.
Just sitting on a stool with an acoustic guitar and just kind of...
you don't have a guitar. You're
plucking it occasionally.
No.
I don't know how to play guitar, but I'm plucking it. No. I have a DJ set.
It's a book. I'm explaining a book. Why do you have a guitar?
Because he does talks. I thought I was doing talks. No. I would do talks if I wrote this book. Right.
But you already do stand-up. In addition to your stand-up, you would have a book, and the book is just folksy stories of your childhood. That you make up and are about picnics that you went to that went awry
and they never happened.
It's all made up stuff.
An Easter egg that got rolled by
roll,
stray dogs.
Right. There's a dog. There's some kind of pig loose.
There's a pig that got loose and wrecked at the Easter egg hunt.
Just classic Americana type stuff.
And on the book jacket on the about the author, I'm in a wheelchair.
Maybe.
I'm wearing a turtleneck and I'm in a wheelchair.
Sure, man.
And I'm smoking. I don't know. It's just it's a good author picture.
Even if you were in a wheelchair, you would not show it.
I
almost didn't know. I read books by guys in wheelchairs. They do not show it.
Just shows their head.
He's just sitting down. Yeah, you just are like, dang, he's sitting down.
Okay.
By the ocean. But yeah, I mean, you're like, dang, I guess that is a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair in
the
forest.
The Andre Dubus book.
What?
You're describing a guy that already exists.
No.
Yeah.
What's
Andre
his deal?
Dubus. He's from Louisiana. He's fat and kind of horny.
Okay.
And, he was in a car wreck, or he got hit by a car while helping someone fix their car on the highway, and he lost the use of his legs. But he's a very humorous essayist.
I kind of want to be a humorous paraplegic essayist. But no, I can still
mean,
walk.
Conrad, that could still happen. I mean, you were hit by a car.
That's
notably. So, I mean, the odds of it happening again, I think, are better.
I think they are higher.
Yeah,
they are higher.
Once you hit someone with your car,
once you've been hit by a car,
it really opens up the statistical.
Well, it's because what happens. Do you know what happens? It's when a large metal object hits you that quickly at that velocity, you become magnetized due to friction. And you attract. It's like when you get struck by lightning.
Ballard crash situation.
It's a Ballard. It's Crash. It's kind of just the story of Crash. You kind of get horny.
You kind of come up, yeah.
You kind of learn to
your pants a little bit.
You learn to come from getting in a car wreck, and it's pretty much over from there. But you get magnetized, over time. Like when you get struck by lightning, you're more likely to get struck because your body has your ions are more electrified. Yeah. My ions are predisposed to be hit by cars.
I think so.
And that's why I walk around. I wear a puffy jacket year round.
It's interesting that you joke about being a paraplegic because you likely will become one.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I did. That would be crazy if I just lost the use of my legs.
Yeah.
And check it out. I can use them right now.
Yeah, they're great right now. That's what's crazy is you're like, dang. Yeah, in the book he's like, I used to go for
whatever
runs.
I want.
I used to go for runs all the time.
Oh god, that's probably gonna happen to me.
I never do that shit.
Knowing my luck, I'm gonna fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he ran and now he's paraplegic. You don't run.
Yeah.
That guy ran.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
But I'll bring that book. That book's kind of funny, but maybe it's kind of too serious. But I feel like it'd be.
We could do a serious one.
It'd be fun.
We could do a sad one. Yeah. We should try to find the saddest book possible.
We're all crying.
Yeah.
We get a video and it's just us crying. It's just us reading the saddest book.
One video.
Me and my friends used to do that. There was the No Cry Challenge on YouTube, and it was this playlist of the saddest videos.
Oh man.
And we would play them.
And would you cry?
Some of us would, yeah.
Would you win every time?
I would lose pretty quick.
Oh, nice. What got you?
I don't remember. It was
wasn't-
just it was like 2012, so we didn't even have good videos yet.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I mean, it was
Yeah.
like the common ones.
Mm-hmm. The child has a
Or
dog and
they just like
they kill it?
the beginning of Up
they killed the
is
dog.
one of the videos. Is the beginning
Oh, it's just
of
the
Up.
beginning of Up?
That's one of the videos.
Oh.
You know,
Wow. Or like a guy.
sad stuff.
child-
Yeah, there's
Child
some guy
helping
making
a baby.
speech,
A child
yeah.
saving a baby from a fire.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay. We should do a don't cry challenge
Don't cry. Yeah,
after this. We should do it.
but then it's just
Don't
us
cry.
crying so.
We just try to
fast
make
and
each
hard,
other cry.
and we're crying so hard.
Yeah, there's no videos. We just try to make each other cry.
Right. I'm good at crying.
I'm good at crying.
I'm really good at crying.
You could. I feel like if you're good at crying, you're good at making people cry.
Whoa. Right, because that's the key to making people cry is just crying.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is like, dang, this is really affecting.
Yeah, that's so funny. Like, I bet I could make you cry. And then you just start crying and like hug them.
Yeah, and then you just go, man, the trees.
Yeah, you just.
And it's like, whoa. I never thought of it.
Yeah, that's the power of suggestion.
Right.
It's Sales 101.
Sales 101.
Sales 101.
Psychology 101.
It's Psychokinesis 101.
Yeah.
Where's my fucking standby?
Conrad needs to access some chemicals.
I need my chemicals. Why don't you tell them a little bit about the book we're reading?
We got the Larry McMurtry book. We've been wanting to read this for a long time. I introduced it one time. But yeah, Larry McMurtry, it's his book of essays on Texas called In a Narrow Grave.
Now, Larry McMurtry, did he
wrote Lonesome Dove.
did he have some sort of drug addiction, or was he
Probably not. More
was he a
just-
philanderer? Maybe a
He's kind of horny. He has this book called All My Friends Are Gonna Be Strangers. It's about a professor that fucks.
whoa.
Quentin Tarantino really likes that book.
Okay, so he's like a horny Texas.
It's not that horny. It's more just like a dude who's like being
Writer?
real. He's pretty real.
Oh no.
A lot of people in Texas aren't real about, sex. You pretend it's fake. Exactly.
Shout out, Kat.
Sybil's pissed.
Sybil hates it that men have to be repressed about sex.
Yeah. So Larry McMurtry.
He talks about sex. He says
Yeah.
it.
Well, the essay's about sex.
He goes there.
Yeah.
Was he the first guy to go there?
I don't know. This book's not that old. It's from like the 80s or something. Look. It's
Sorry, is that picking up?
68. It's from 1968. Okay. So this book's funny because I've read this book and I was at the bookstore that I've mentioned before, Quarter Price Books in Houston.
Yeah.
Where the guy's really mean.
Yeah.
And I was like, browsing the books, and there's sometimes you hear dudes go up to the counter, and you can just tell they're trying to like chop it up with the guy in a literary sense.
Yeah.
And he's kind of just never there for that. Usually, he's kind of
Right.
just does not want to do that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But then the guy, my takeaway was, the guy walked up and he goes, "Oh, do you like Larry McMurtry or whatever? Do you guys have Larry McMurtry books?" kind of thing. And the guy was like, "Yeah, we got some. They're pretty popular or whatever." And then the guy's like, "Well, he's lives in Texas. Have you ever met him?" And then the guy, he goes, "Yeah, he was a real jerk. He just really mean.
Whoa.
But this guy's a jerk." And this guy's name is also Larry. So I think there was some kind of, and in the way he was talking, it sounded like maybe there was something with a woman. Larry McMurtry made a move on some woman
fucked his
that
wife.
other Larry was involved with.
Quarter Price Larry.
Yeah, but
That's
it was
such a
funny
fun,
because the guy brought up this specific book. He said, "Oh, I read that In a Narrow Grave book," and I'm browsing the books and I'm beaming. I'm going, "Oh, I've read this book. I could hop in. I could get in on this. Wow, this is great."
Oh, that's exciting.
I know this is huge
yeah.
for me.
Bookstore. You could be the bookstore.
I'm at the bookstore. I'm like,
in the
"Yeah,
scene.
I've read that book."
You're in the scene.
I've read the book that they're mentioning, and then Larry, the guy that works there, he just goes, "Oh yeah, I hate that book." He goes, "That book's terrible," and he goes,
Abort.
the stuff he says in it, it's like someone who's from Texas should never say.
What?
Or so, it was like a betrayal. Like he kind of saw it as a betrayal. Like it was too real.
Like Larry McMurtry he's like an
He was being too real.
infidel to Texas.
Something. I don't know. Yeah, he was just, it wasn't done. He wasn't,
I like that.
what he does is not, it was
That's
not
pretty cool.
properly done. So he's pissing off people.
And this is the 60s.
I guess, yeah, it's the 60s.
People were going to jail for comedians were going to jail for saying fuck.
So he wrote
you know.
he wrote some books that were turned into movies. Is important.
Okay. Lonesome Dove 1.
No, that's a TV show. No,
Kind
so
of like
he
a
makes
movie.
HUD is the movie. It's a movie in the 70s, 60s, but it's called HUD. And it has Paul Newman in it.
This
I
is
think.
fucked up.
So yeah, HUD is the big one. And
HUD.
Terms of Endearment is another movie.
Those are great movies. Neither of which I've seen, but I'm sure
I
they're
haven't seen
terrific.
them, yeah.
You can check them out. We
Larry McMurtry.
fully endorse these films.
Yeah, we love Larry McMurtry.
We love Mary McMurtry, and we are so excited to read. I like reading. I was reading earlier today.
Wow,
Yeah, pretty cool.
you don't say.
I was reading Count Zero by William Gibson,
Wow.
the book of the day.
Look at the day. Is that the second one?
In the Sprawl series, yeah. It's pretty good.
So you have Mona Lisa Overdrive to go, or that's the
Mona
third
Lisa, I've read Mona Lisa Overdrive.
That's
I've
the
read
third
all of
one.
them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I just like Count
So
Zero
you're
the
back.
most.
Nice.
It's kind of the coolest one.
Hell yeah. I just picked up a cyberpunk book by Bruce Sterling, who's
Nice.
from Austin, but it's
Okay.
called Artificial Kid.
That's
and
cool.
the cover looks so sick.
When was it written?
The 90s or the 80s?
Artificial Kid.
But the cover, it's like this guy, and he has nunchucks, and he has like a mantis on his shoulder.
That rules.
Let me see if I can pull up the pic.
Do you ever fuck with reading companion playlists on Spotify?
They're never really up to snuff.
Really? Okay.
I don't know.
You make your own?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fucking.
Look at the Artificial Kid.
Yeah, that looks great.
I have no idea.
Is it on another planet? Or
I don't know. It was a thing where I just saw it and I went, I don't even need to know what it's about.
I like stuff that's on Earth.
Okay, let me see. This is published in 1980.
I like stuff where it's like New York 2022.
No, this
But it was
it takes
written in
place
the
on the
70s?
planet Reverie, a world of coral continents, levitating islands, and the corrosive, transformative wilderness of the Mass.
That's pretty fantastical.
Yeah, but he
sounds
does. He's a cyberpunk writer,
Yeah,
so there
hell
might be some cyberpunk elements to the fantasy.
Yeah, that shit's just cool. Yeah, I was listening to the
You
Neuromancer.
gotta get into what's the
Neuromancer
Neuromancer one. I bet is a good
reading
playlist.
companion.
Yeah, I bet
it's
that is good.
so good.
Yeah,
It's all
seem
just
good.
it's like fucking Fortet and shit, but it's like great.
right.
It's very like cool. And then you're reading
Yeah.
and you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great time.
Great time.
I was on the plane and there's an old lady with braces next to me. She goes, "That book looks like it has some miles on it." And I just wanted to die. I just did not want to talk to her at all. She's like, "I just read it off my phone."
Cool.
And I'm like, "Yeah, but there's other stuff on your phone. You get distracted." She's like, "Oh, I don't."
Cool.
It's like, okay, great, cool. I'm gonna go back to.
This don't run out of battery, bitch.
I just don't like. It's kind of calling my book gross.
Right.
Like, your book looks fucked up. Like, yeah, it's on thrift book. I got it
Yeah,
for $2.
it was $1 and it never runs out of battery ever. It's great. It's a great resource.
I don't have to adjust the fucking brightness
Yeah.
when the sun hits it. It's a good thing.
We love book.
When the sun hits it. Book is underrated.
Everybody's hating on book.
Book is fucking underrated. Yeah, dude.
I might make my phone black and white. I heard people talking about that. Have you heard about that?
I'm thinking about making mine sepia tone.
I don't know about
So it's
that.
like the old west.
I just know black and
You're
white.
like a
one.
cowboy with an iPhone.
So it's just yellow and black.
Yeah.
Yellow and
I think
brown.
that you can do that. That's like easier on your retinas.
Right, I know that one.
'Cause
where
we're
it's
just
kind of
constantly-
orange.
we're
It's
just
like blue
searing-
light blocking. or
Searing our brains constantly. Yeah, black and white's cool if you read books. Like, if you have a black and white phone, like, man, this guy's never on his phone.
something. Right, I'm off the phone, you know.
I want that. That's all I want. I want to.
But then
never
I
be
was
on
like,
my
what if
phone.
I want to look at pictures? But I guess you can swap it on and off. But
You gotta have it in the control center
yeah,
or something
that's true. Yeah,
where it's just available readily.
readily available.
But none of that shit works.
I'm gonna read the. Oh, one of my things I want to draw attention to with this show.
Enough
With
about
this.
technology.
And I've refused to use the term podcast. You just
This is
I'll
a
use
show.
it for use. It's not a show even. It's an iterative exercise that we're participating in.
This is an exercise in
This is exercise.
semantics.
Yeah.
It's a semantic
Part of
playground.
one of the reasons to do it is to do it and then to do it again and to be better.
It's a dance of knives, is what it is. It's
Right.
a true
So part of the thing is I love the
social ballroom.
dedications of books.
Dedications of books are
So the dedication, which people hardly
bullshit.
ever read. No, they're amazing. So this one, In an Era of Grave Essays on Texas, the dedication says, "For James." That's his son. His son's name is James
Yeah, see, I'm not.
McMurtry.
How do I find
His son's name is James McMurtry. He's a famous country singer. And to the memory of Uncle Jeff and Uncle Johnny, and for Ken Kesey, the last wagon master.
The Last Wagon Master?
So Ken Kesey,
It's a fake guy.
Who that is? You don't know who Ken Kesey is?
It's a made-up man.
Union, explain who Ken Kesey is.
I don't know.
Fuck,
You took
come
Texas
on.
history.
It's not a Texas person.
Oh.
It's he's the guy. He's done the electric acid test. He has a school bus, and in the
What?
'60s, everybody
Oh.
gets on his school bus, and he has the orange juice and has the acid in it.
What?
And he passes the orange juice around the bus, and everybody drinks the
Is
acid.
that the electric Kool-Aid?
Yes, the Tom Wolfe book is
What?
falling around Ken Kesey.
What? I don't know anything about
That's why
this
he's
guy.
the last wagon master.
He was like a cult guy, or was he just chill? He just gave people acid?
Both.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, he's just walking
He had
around
a
and
school
stuff.
bus that people took acid on. The Last Wagon Master.
He's the
That's
last
funny.
wagon master,
That's
yeah.
funny.
It's called Further.
Take people on a
That's the
journey.
name of the bus.
The
The bus was called Further.
None of them know who the Ken Kesey is.
That's why I'm not.
Yeah.
That's why you're not. That's why Adam's
Yeah.
not on the show,
Adam
because he
would be
knows too
great.
much
Adam
about
would be
Ken
great to
Kesey.
explain it, but he refuses.
He would blow us out of the water because he's afraid of another Nate
And then
sniffing
there's
situation.
the epigraph, or I don't know what this is called. The part that's not the dedication, but it has a little quote.
Not the prologue
I think
either.
it's an epigram,
Pre-prologue.
epigram or something. So then we have
Epigram.
some quotes, and this is from the song "The Dying Cowboy." By my father's grave, let mine be, and bury me not on the lone prairie. Oh, that's the first one. Yeah. That's not
Cool.
And then this is the dying cowboy. Oh, bury me not, and his voice failed there. But we took no heed of his dying prayer. In a narrow grave, just 6x3, we buried him there on the lone prairie.
Beautiful.
Oh, and this one's from Cowboy's Lament, which is one of my favorite songs. We shall beat the drum slowly, and shook the spurs lowly, and bitterly wept as we bore him along. For we all loved our comrade, so brave, young, and handsome. We all loved the cowboy, although he'd done wrong.
It's pretty
That's
good.
the Cowboy's Lament.
Is that a song that I can listen
Yeah,
to?
it's like the Streets of Laredo. It's called the Streets of Laredo. Sometimes Burl Ives does it.
Burl Ives.
He's the
Streets of
Cowboy's
Laredo.
Lament, Streets of Laredo.
Alexa, play Burl Ives, The Streets of Laredo.
We beat the drum. Oh yeah, I did that one. Okay, this one's from Teddy Blue. We pointed them north. I don't know who that is. I first took to drinking and then to card playing, and they'd all be drunk when they was singing it. Most likely, cowboys love to sing about people dying. I don't know why. I guess it was because they was so full of life themselves.
Dang.
So cowboys love dying because they're so full of life.
They're so full of life. They live too hard. They know
They're
it
all
doesn't
dying.
last.
Cowboys are obsessed with dying because they're really good at living life. And
They're
that's
living
kind of what
fast.
the live fast, die young, bad girls do it well.
Exactly. It's that sort of ethos.
Pretty much.
It's the true pathos of
Yeah.
the bling ring.
Wake up in the morning.
Brush my teeth with a bottle of Jack.
What page is it?
So what do we?
79.
This
Oh, yeah.
is a
So
collection of short stories,
essays.
essays.
Personal essays about Texas. Okay, this one's called Eros in Archer County.
Okay.
So he's from Archer
It's gonna
County.
be sexy.
Eros is love.
Eros.
Erotic.
Eros. Yeah, erotic is
Erotic.
sexy.
Erotic love.
Love can be sexy.
Okay. Sex is still a word to freeze the average Texan's liver, partially if the Texan is over 40 and his liver is not already pickled. The young toss the word around carelessly, but adults do not, for careless use might implicate them in suspect acts or suspect attitudes. The young, of course, are mostly urban now, and they seem to be adapting themselves handily to the promiscuity of the age. At the moment, however, I am not interested in describing or evaluating the sexual attitudes that prevail in present-day Texas. That pleasant task can be better taken up in the novel. What urgently needs to be done is to get down what can still be remembered of the sexual attitudes that prevailed here in the recent and not-so-recent past. As Dobie rightly observed, the frontier produced no peppies.
Peppies?
I don't know. P-E-P-Y-S. Pepis.
Beepus.
Pepis.
Beepus.
I don't know what that is.
My favorite soda.
Teddy Blue was frank and funny. but all too succinct. The few pages he devotes to the trail driver's activities with women are the nearest thing to sexual autobiography that we have for the 19th century West, and that we have no more should hardly occasion surprise. There were the reasons that restrained Thackeray and the verbal inhibition that even to this day has lost but little of its power in the rural West. Besides, the 19th century West was without a leisure class, and that made a great difference in its literary production. The novels.
Sybil?
The novels. Oh, nice. We got the lights on now. Okay. The novels of Henry James and the fantasies of My Secret Life were alike impossible to it. Life in the West was itself such a strenuous physical adventure that the need for psychic or sexual adventure may have been diminished. Had the author of My Secret Life lived in the West, he would have gone raving mad with frustration. There just weren't that many women west of the Mississippi, and what there were tended to be rather work-worn and a discouraging distance apart. Okay, popcorn, kind of.
Yes.
I thought this was going to be less hard to read, but he does write. I forgot he writes kind of flowery.
Sort of Western academia, Southern academic.
Right. Southwestern.
Fortunately for the investigator, like he probably sounds like that. I think one can assume a certain consistency of attitude in the West from about that time of the Civil War until at least World War I. Those of us whose parents were born in the first decade of this century and whose grandparents were born in the 60s and 70s of the last century have usually had abundant opportunity for contact with the 19th century's sexual orientation. For the novelist, the principal difficulty is one of language, since the novelist needs not merely knowledge of attitudes, but knowledge of the language and, indeed, the tones in which the attitudes are expressed.
True.
This is like a contract. It is the private speech of one's grandparents and their contemporaries that one would have liked to have heard, what they would have said to one another in the morning, in the kitchen, or at night in the bedroom, if indeed they bothered to speak in either place.
Do you guys ever think about that?
About listening to your grandparents talk?
Or about what they would say, people of that age. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's just interesting to think about.
Yeah.
They kind of have no concept outside of movies.
Yeah, it is hard. We don't really see or hang out with old people.
Yeah. Especially when they're having sexual.
Yeah, when
thoughts
they're hanging out with people. Usually the old guys, like my uncles, are probably the oldest people I know. And when they talk, they just talk about like guys they knew when they were 5.
Yeah.
And they go, oh man, he's probably dead.
Imagine
now.
it's the end of the day and he's making a move.
What would
Hey,
Would he even say anything?
I think he would just kind of. No, I don't think he would do anything. If he was trying to fuck my aunt.
All right. With that in mind.
With that in mind. Without the language and the tones of the private moment, it's impossible to recreate in fiction the emotional realities of the lives of one's forebears lived. The novelists who have attempted to write about the 19th century West have one and all come up against this problem of speech, and they have one and all been weakened by it. Their dialogue is usually an unconvincing mixture of the contemporary and the archaic, bad enough when they have two men talking, but really hopeless when they try to render the conversation of men and women. That's why it's all fake. That's why all movies seem so goofy. Like from the 50s.
Yeah, they never have talked to women.
Hey, what do you say you and I go lay down together and roll around?
That's my favorite.
What do you say we roll around for a little while? Their dialogue is usually an unconvincing mixture. I already read this. It is this inadequacy of dialogue that makes so much of the fiction of the West seem stilted and not quite believable, even when written by novelists who are competent otherwise. While it is unfortunate that we know so little about what people thought, felt, and said about their bodies and their sexual activities in Pioneer, Texas, what is really sobering is to reflect that unless somebody gets busy, we will have recorded little more of what they thought.
About Pioneer, Texas.
I missed the face. Much like the listener. I'm sort of like the listener now.
Right.
I can't see you. I didn't see Union's
You
face.
had a good face.
Talking about the sexual fucking activities in Pioneer, Texas.
We've all thought about it. We've all been thinking about it.
Yeah, I guess
we
you're
all want to know.
just jacking off in the desert.
Right. Davy Crockett.
Cold camping.
Yeah.
You just have a little
Bivouacking,
fire.
yeah.
You're bivouacking.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
Come on now. Yes, sir.
Put the beans on.
Coffee's hot.
You'd love.
Full of
Lonesome
beans.
Dove.
Full of beans and jerking off in the
Everyone
in the
should
fucking
watch it. If
desert.
you haven't watched Lonesome Dove, just watch
All
it.
I eat is beans and coffee. He's farting while he
We
jacks
love it.
off. You
Yeah.
know they're farting.
Yeah, bro. This is all happening in Lonesome Dove.
You know, cowboy. Do they fart in Lonesome Dove?
I don't know. Bro, that's the type of stuff that does it, you know.
Yeah, okay. I think I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's like, you know how Blood Meridian is all sad? Think about that, but like...
Blood Meridian, the show?
No, just the book.
Oh, Lonesome Dove, the book.
Right. But
Okay.
they missed the book on the show.
I'll
but it's
check
like,
out the
you know,
book.
they keep her talking about his dick and they call it like a carrot. They're like, and then he took his carrot out. And you're like, okay.
That's
shit.
pretty good.
He shredded his Garrett.
No, the ladies love the carrot, yeah.
Well, what you do is you just gotta fucking whack off. You gotta form the silt into 2 lumps
Right.
and touch them.
Cowboys. What's the...
The Cowboys fleshlight.
There's this one Marty Robbins song where he talks about looking at a picture.
Yeah, you need one picture.
Yeah.
One picture of a beautiful
Dream
dame.
of a girl in a photograph. Yeah.
Dream of a girl in a photograph.
Yeah.
In your fantasy, you're
Round
thinking
my
of looking
coat.
at a photo.
Round my head. Yeah, you're riding your horse and you're like, damn, I wish you'd be looking at a picture right now. I wish I could be fucking looking at my picture right now.
I could
but
be
I'm
looking at a
not.
picture.
I'm riding this stupid horse.
Just
in this
staring at it
dust
like it's a
storm.
phone. He's just standing there like holding the picture.
Yeah,
looking
that's
at
it.
it.
I had a tweet like this. That
Huh?
back in the day, before we had phones,
When you were the
just
king
used
of
to
Twitter.
look. You just used to look at a picture of your dead loved ones. That was all we did back in
You
the
just-
yeah, look at that.
Huh? What?
Oh yeah, this is my dead brother.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's my dead brother. This is my child. Oh yeah, no, sorry, this is my 8th kid.
This is my child bride. She's dead.
Died. Yeah. Check out my dead child bride. Check this out.
Back to the text.
Just showing the. All right, yeah. Wait,
I
real
can
quick.
popcorn if you
Real
want to
quick.
keep riffing. Where
You
are
give
you
a
at?
pic-
Oh, you don't.
I'm after
Okay, yeah.
sexual activities in
Alright,
Pioneer,
yeah,
Texas.
yeah.
Giving a little kid in the Old West a picture of the dead loved one to distract him at a restaurant. That was all I wanted. That was all I wanted to do.
That's good. Here's a picture of your mother.
Here's a picture of your mother who
She's
died.
so beautiful.
It's like iPad kids.
What is really sobering is to reflect that unless someone gets busy, we will have recorded little more of what they thought, felt, and said about those matters in the 30s and 40s. The reasons that restrained Thackeray and Mr. Dobie also restrained virtually everyone who wrote about the Southwest prior to the 50s. It was impossible to write frankly about sexual matters, even in a discursive book, without bringing upon oneself the opprobrium. All right, can we look up opprobrium?
Yeah, no problem.
Opprobrium.
Opprobrium.
Oppr.
I'm gonna go in the OPP section.
Opprobrium.
Okay.
I think it means they don't like you.
Okay, we're close. Take that. Opprobrium.
OPP. You down with OPP?
You know me. OPP are opprobrium, noun. The disgrace or the reproach incurred by a conduct considered outrageously shameful. Infamy.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't
definition-
like it.
Yeah, a cause or
Okay.
object of such disgrace, or it's just something
Exactly what I
disgusting.
said.
It's a disgusting thing.
Great. Without bringing upon oneself the opprobrium of elderly ladies, to whose opinions the pillars of our communities and a great many of our writers have always deferred. There seems now little reason to allow these well-meaning ladies to be a deterrent of frankness. Oh, that's a good word. He is very frank. There's
Yeah.
a frankness about this. And I should like to set down, ere memory fades, a few not quite random notes on the sexuality of small town Texas, as I remember it from the 40s and early 50s.
Where are you at?
Just the bottom, or the early 50s.
Early 50s. The reader will keep in mind that when I titled this chapter, I did not claim much in the way of territory, just Archer County. Is Archer County still? Where's that?
It's still a county.
Where is that?
I think it's like near the Panhandle, kind of like south of the Panhandle.
Right on. Archer County, stand up.
Right.
I was something
Between
of a
Midland and Amarillo.
got it.
Somewhere.
Stand up. Archer County, rise up. I was something of a stay-at-home in my youth, same, and can't vouch for what went on down in Jack County.
The neighboring county.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. That's kind of true, though.
Yeah.
I
This
don't
is
know.
good for your small town stuff you're gonna write.
The fuck is happening in Hayes County?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm in Hayes County.
Yeah, you're
I'm
there.
down there. It's
That's
a whole
all I
different
know.
world. It's a lot of guys, and they'll be doing wheelies on their motorbike, and they have a really fancy helmet that has Easter Bunny ears on it.
Wow.
And they're running from the cops. Yeah. And then they get back to their house and they put a big blanket over it, so the cops don't see it, and no one knows. Yeah.
See, yeah, I didn't know that. Now I know.
Yeah. It's a different world.
It's a whole different world
New
out
county
there.
over, yeah.
I'm something of a stay-at-home. Much less for remote areas. Well, I don't know what went on in Jack County. Much less for remote areas like Fort Worth and Dallas. Indeed, I'm not even sure that my observations in Archer County were really thorough, but I'm afraid they will have to suffice. The chances of anyone volunteering to fill me in on what I may have missed are now lamentably slim.
He doesn't have any friends.
He has no friends. He was a stay-at-home. My own first brush with small-town restrictions on frankness followed almost immediately upon the realization that sex was something worth being frank about. I was 8 or 9 years old, as I recall, and was climbing a street sign pole. And then the pole started slowly sliding up my ass, and something awakened inside of me. This is not it.
Is that happening?
It was a stop sign, so it was excruciating. When I started up the pole, I had no purpose in mind but casual exercise, but about the time I got to the top, the flexing activity that pole climbing involves produced what I learned later years was an orgasm.
Oh.
I'm not making that up.
That's real. That's why it's tough when you make them up, Conrad.
Yeah, I know. I
The
know.
boy who cried riff.
He was climbing up a pole and came. Jizzed from
All right,
shimmying.
I can take over.
It was a shimmy jizz.
I like this. I like this reading out of the.
He had a shimmy jizz.
Right.
Yeah, we have the book nestled in a
I like
dictionary
the
right
dictionary as a reading aid.
Imbued with the power.
Where is he orgasm? Where's the
It
orgasm?
was right after in this block
Sliding down. Oh yeah.
up over here.
Oh wow.
Sliding down.
When I started, okay. I had not been expecting anything so delightful to happen at the top of that pole, and I hung for a moment in amazement before sliding down. A lady of my acquaintance happened to be standing nearby, so I hurried over and gave her an ecstatic report on the event. My description was probably rather vague, but I was able to pinpoint the area that felt so good, and that was enough for the lady. Shh, she said, looking apprehensively about. Just don't tell anybody.
Mary Sue, I jizzed myself.
I was climbing the pole and it felt so good.
I combed in my pants. Look at how wet I am.
But I did tell, of course, and so did my young companions. Where the young were concerned, the verbal restrictions were extremely ineffective, or were at any rate for a period of years. Curiously enough, among the youth of my hometown, the
Pubescent.
Nope.
Not it's pre-pubertus.
Pubertal.
Pre-pubertal.
Prepubertal.
Prepubertal. Prepubertal. Take prepubertal.
The prepubertal years were the period of greatest verbal license.
Prepubertal.
First graders, for the most part, were a sheltered and inarticulate lot. But by the time one reached second grade, one's vocabulary was swollen with forbidden words picked up on the farmyard, in the school bus, or on the playground.
Well, that's never changed. It's
Second
fun
grade?
It's fun to see
Second
how stuff
grade's
is the same. You know, fuck in second grade.
Nice.
When did you learn
I
fuck?
don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
First grade, probably.
One elementary school.
Yeah. By second grade, they're all a bunch of perverts. We knew, of course, that such words were rightly the property of adults, and we were careful to use them only among ourselves. Careless use at home would have meant nothing less than the chain and block. The chain and block. And very few of us ever slipped up.
Chain and block.
What is the chain and block?
I think they beat you with a chain. I don't know. Yeah. Your
It's chain and block hyphenated, so it's like one. It's like Time for the chain and block.
Chain and block.
It's like block on a chain, maybe. And they swing it around. Shit, this is good. Shit, piss, fuck, and goddamn were in extremely common use among second and third graders during the early 40s.
This is the stuff we need to know.
Yeah, this is good.
Write it down.
This was in Back to the Future. And little girls used them almost as readily as little boys. At that time, the one innocent word in the group was fuck. Toilet training had already placed a strong inhibition on reference to the excretory functions, and most of us had been to Sunday school often enough to know that we would not expect to go to heaven if we took the Lord's name in vain. But fuck was still on the table. The God most of us envisioned was definitely a prohibitive bent and was known to have the power to enforce his demands. We were a good deal more afraid of him than we were of our earthly parents. Only the more heathen among us could say "God damn" without sooner or later glancing nervously at the sky. Shit and piss were used with less hesitation. So far as we knew, they were not particularly offensive to God, and by that time it was a relief to escape the forest of euphemisms that had grown up around the waste products. Visits to one's friends were apt to be a bit chancy, since each household had its own set of permissible euphemisms. Damn. This is a smart book.
He's really paying attention.
A really smart one. I'm trying to lock in here, and I'm having difficulties. Some of the more enlightened and antiseptic families utilized the time-honored mathematical formula of number 1 and number 2, but these were in the minority. Others preferred the onomatopoeic tinkle for pissing. A few admitted wee-wee, but pee and pee-pee were looked upon with disfavor. This is the best so far. This is what we wanted.
I like this one.
Thanks, Kurt.
Yeah.
No doubt because they suggested that the penis was involved. That's why I don't like pee-pee.
Oh, pee, yeah.
Right.
Pot was standard for shitting. Dodo was
Pot.
considered affected.
I gotta go pot.
Yeah,
I gotta sit on the pot.
I gotta go on the pot. A few preferred the evocative grunt, while others adopted an alphabetical code and said big T and little t.
Whoa.
Grunt is my mom says grunt. My mom said that her parents would say
They
grunt.
would just grunt?
They would do tinkle or no, the word grunt.
Oh.
It's like, do you have to go tinkle or grunt?
Whoa.
That's pretty good.
That's
I like the idea of them just grunting.
yeah.
Going, do you need to tinkle or...
Do you need to go? Yeah, no, they do. That's my mom. Arkansas.
Arkansas, they're grunting.
They're just saying grunt.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What was your words?
Poo?
Poo.
Poo-poo?
Poo poo.
I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Mostly just,
You have to go
use the toilet.
use the. Oh, just you gotta go use the toilet.
Right. Pee. I need
Yeah.
to pee.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was dicey.
Mine was poop. It was poop
Right.
for shit.
I need to sit down.
Shit was poop,
Right.
and piss was go go.
Whoa.
Go.
Go. You would go out of your TT.
I need to... The only thing I have...
My mom would say TT.
My TT and my bomo. These are my.
Your bomb.
Yeah, I would go TT out of my. I would go out of my TT, and I would go poop out of my bomo.
Whoa.
And that's
You had your own
that's how we
language.
did it.
No, my brother had his own... Are you the oldest?
Yeah.
Yeah, the oldest gets their own language, and then
Yeah.
I'm born, and I hate all of them. And I'm just like, this is so dumb. And they're like, no, Nathan would say these when he was little. It was so funny.
Oh.
And you're just like, oh, great. Yeah, what a wordsmith. Wow.
Fucking words, fucking.
But we had the classic
Noam
one
Chomsky
for
over
us is if you see a guy and he's running without his shirt on,
Yeah.
we call that a tickle belly. He's running around like a tickle belly.
Just a guy jogging past you. You
Yeah.
go, just tickle him.
Well, no, he has it. Well, the thing is, he's asking for it. He's got a tickle belly.
Does he have a big belly, or is it just his
Anybody,
shirt-
you know,
shirtless?
if you take your shirt off, you're a tickle belly. Yeah.
Did you ever go to a baseball game and have people take their shirt off at the baseball game?
Not in my experience.
Tickle bellies.
No.
No?
It was maybe some lawnmower guys or tickle bellies.
Anyway. The safest approach of all was to ask for the bathroom, as one did in the Clarkston home, leaving one's hostess in comfortable doubt as to the activity pursued therein. That is kind of true. You don't want them to
Who
know.
cares? Yeah.
Yeah. Bathrooms, incidentally, were seldom lockable.
This is good info.
The young were known to be given to masturbation, a practice lockable doors would surely encourage. Not even surveillance could eliminate it entirely, but it did render it respectively nerve-wracking. But it makes it even hotter. Probably the little girls used profanity because it seemed to offer an entree into the boys' world. It took no great intelligence to perceive that in the part of the country that the boys' world was the more desirable one. That in that part of the country, the boys' world
you
was
wanna
the
be a
more
boy.
desirable one. Yeah. Of course.
Being a girl sucks.
Obviously. We get to cuss. We can cuss and jack off. As
On
puberty,
property.
On property. We
And
can
own property.
own property and whack off on it and fucking say fuck.
Or credit card.
Have a credit card. Make your name fuck on the credit card because no one can check what your name is. You say your name is Peter Fuck.
Peter Falk.
Peter fuck.
You can say your
Columbo.
name is
Peter
John
Falk.
Piss. John Piss ass. As puberty approached, but a few diehard tomboys gave up and resigned themselves to being women, and for the next year's unchaste expressions seldom crossed their lips. If a girl were especially vexed, she might use shit as an exclamation, but only if she were in the company of people by whom she wished to be thought daring. You want to be badasses.
All these pick me girls.
This is a
saying
pick me,
shit.
a pick me bitch of the old west. Coarse language became the recognized prerogative of males, and they guarded it zealously. Boys only, bitch.
Fuck you, girl.
That's in the book. To second and third graders, as I have said, fuck was an innocent word. Few of us had any clear idea what it meant, and we ordinarily used it in its adjectival form. Adjectival?
Adjectival?
Adjectival. Whatever.
It's whatever you want, yeah.
It's whatever we
That
want.
one's one you just, freestyle.
You can freestyle it. Alright, I'm going to spit. In retrospect, I realized that one of the more stunning verbal slips I ever heard was made by a 9-year-old chum who at the Sunday dinner table asked his sister to pass the fucking butter. Classic, dude. Classic slip up.
Hey, could you pass the fucking
Can you pass the fucking butter?
Hey, could you pass the fucking butter?
Oh my god, I misspoke. What a slip up. That's the most intentional fucking placement I've ever seen.
But it's like, he's 9, dude.
Could you
Like,
pass the
he
fucking
doesn't
butter?
know, yeah.
The adults were too stunned for effective response, and we children merely giggled, not realizing that the word was all that bad. At that tender age, we seldom used, or needed to use, the vernacular words for the genital organs. Oh, this is so good. Of those, the one subject to the severest prohibition was the word cunt.
Oh yeah.
And
What?
I think the prejudice, like it's in the book, so I'm going to say it.
Whoa.
I'm reading it.
Okay.
We should have that rule.
I'm not reading the N-word.
Up next, Huck Finn. Huck Finn. No, but this is funny.
Maybe the F slur. Maybe.
After I got hit by the truck, I was recovering at my parents' house, and my mom would read because I was in a neck brace, and I couldn't.
She's like, I got Huck Finn for you,
Yeah,
son.
she had a Confederacy of Dunces.
Whoa.
Very funny book.
Very funny.
But there's a black guy in the book
Right.
who says the N-word about 47 times per page.
Nice.
And my mom just rolled with it.
You gotta roll with
God
it,
bless
yeah.
her.
Fellas.
Love her. Love her to death.
You should replace it with fellas.
Yeah, I was like, we could do some like, we could do friends or buddies.
She's like, no.
Best friends.
Nah,
No, but
that's hard.
she kept hammering it, and I just told her, I was like, Mom, I really appreciate that you're doing this and you're staying period accurate. You're reading the book, but I'm good. I don't need to be read to. I'm okay.
Wow.
I just shut it down because it was just making me too
On
uncomfortable.
edge,
Yeah.
Hearing the N-word so much.
Just hearing my mom say
Right,
the N-word.
exactly.
Have you ever
And
heard your mom say the
No,
N-word?
it's so good.
It's jarring.
Wow.
It's like witnessing yourself
Right.
get hit by a car.
Pretty
It's crazy to hear your mom say the N-word, but she's like, it's in the book.
It's in the book, sweetie.
So I'm kind of doing the same. But cunt is nowhere near as bad as
No, we love cunt.
cunt.
We know Australian people.
I serve it.
Yeah.
We are friends with Australian people, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Just means good buddy over there.
It means a good guy, cool dude,
Good lad.
good bloke.
Bloke.
I think it means a little kid. I think the prejudice against the word cunt was a class prejudice.
Wow.
It was unknown to us as children. Adolescents used it very rarely, and the only time I can recall hearing adults use it was when I was in the camp of some semi-civilized laborers who made their living grubbing mesquite and piling prickly pear. Grubbing mesquite and piling prickly pear.
A prickly pear is good for the
Prickly pear is a good...
ripe for tongue twisting.
Yeah, ram that in. A family so low on the ladder of class that they shared their camp with Mexicans. Oh, come on. Come on, man.
Come on.
They're so poor they hang out with Mexicans? That's the metric that we're working with? All right.
He's frank.
He's being very frank.
He's frank, bro.
That's very true. In Texas, the word was partially rehabilitated by the college youth of the 50s, but its use here is still rather guarded. During the filming of HUD, shout out mentioned earlier, several prominent citizens of the Panhandle were dismayed to learn that among Californians it occurs quite frequently in light conversation. Damn, those crazy Californians.
Oh, and also, so the guy from the bookstore, Larry, he said that the only book he likes by Larry McMurtry is his first book, Pale Horse, Pale Rider, which is what they turned into HUD.
Oh, nice.
He says that's the good one, and that none of the other ones are good.
Maybe we'll do that.
It's a long book. Or, I mean, it's not long, but it's a book.
Oh, it's like a book.
It's a novel, yeah.
Fuck that.
But if you wanted to read a book by this guy.
Do you want to hit this? This is all too rich. I feel like I'm hogging it.
No, you're good.
No, but it's fun.
There was one part where I wanted to just,
right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Cock was in fairly common use in the 40s, but the most popular word for the penis was dick. Cock was most frequently heard in cock sucker. The wide use of the latter as a term for derogation would seem to speak eloquently enough of the area's strong heterosexual bias, but in fact the term cocksucker was used in ways which suggest some ambivalence. Prick was frequently used as a term of insult, whereas cocksucker was more often used joshingly in moments of high locker room camaraderie. At such times, it came near to being a term of affection or comradeship, not an accusation of perversion.
Cock is a very male dom way to say penis.
Cock.
My cock.
My cock.
Cock is a very horny guy word.
Of course, there were times when it was used as an insult, usually about 10 seconds before a fight broke out, but I never heard anyone seriously accuse a person of performing the act, which the word suggests. There was, I believe, a tacit understanding that only one's friends could call one a cocksucker without expecting retaliation. Of course, the Code of the West carried with it an extremely strong prohibition against overtly homosexual action. So strong, indeed, that most of us did not really believe in homosexuality as a physical possibility until we reached college age. I witnessed a good deal of youthful homoerotic exhibitionism, but nothing more clear-cut than that. And as I recall, only 2 occasions on which there was a group masturbation, both on afternoons when it was too hot to play baseball.
Can't play baseball, might as well jack off together. Did you ever do that? Be honest.
The Code of the West?
Even for a second?
No.
Not
I
even
was
for a
never...
second?
I wish I was good enough friends with people to do that.
Yeah, same.
That's when I heard about the Beatles doing it, because people say the Beatles all jerked off together. It's like, they sound really close.
Yeah, they're like best friends.
That sounds like they were really good friends. So
yeah, it sounds disgusting, but then you're like, man, they just really have
they're just really friends. Yeah, they're really close.
And you keep hanging out.
Yeah,
we should all do that
one day.
We'll grow closer
once we get. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a thing that would make us grow closer.
It would grow us.
I think it's more of a thing we would do once we have grown closer, which we know that'll never happen. Yeah, once we have a band. Yeah,
I don't think we'll ever be that close.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we could try.
Right. A charge of homosexuality directly leveled would have produced a fight instantly. Eat my dick was an unignorable insult and always meant a fight, whereas go fuck yourself was a phrase that one was free to take or leave. It was flung about so frequently that it soon lost most of its force. Motherfucker was in the same category. It was generally bestowed good-humoredly. Few considered incest a real possibility, except perhaps between siblings. Very few of my middle-class companions had siblings who could be induced to experiment with them sexually. But there were always one or two lower class families on the literal and psychological edge of the community
That's gross.
where such experimentation was less dangerous and more frequent.
I don't condone that stuff.
Gross.
Popcorn, Conrad.
Popcorn me. Okay.
How do y'all feel about incest?
Bad.
I don't think it should be illegal. Who gives a shit?
Okay, I think it should still be frowned upon.
Sure, culturally, but
Right. Yeah, I guess. Sure.
some people are in prison. Some famous internet celebrities are in prison because of this law, and I don't think they should be. So.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have to like share a room with murderers if you do that. It shouldn't be on the same level.
Who knows?
Whatever.
I'm open to both. I used
You're
to
open
all
to
sides.
incest?
What? No, I just don't think it should be illegal. I don't care.
I see your point. I still want to be like, I don't want to hang out with you if you do that.
Whoa.
Can I
Like the
say that?
McPoyles? You think the McPoyles on Always Sunny are gross?
Yeah.
They kiss.
Yeah. It's okay if it's not.
What if they're
illegal.
drinking milk and they're
But if I
wearing a
find
robe?
out you do that, I'm gonna like not hang out with you.
Right. So you would be hanging out with Edgar Allan Poe,
I
and
would
you'd have to
stick
go,
with-
hey, sorry, Edgar, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Hey, Albert Einstein, I can't
Oh.
hang out. Hey, Albert Einstein, I gotta go.
Albert Einstein.
Hey, sorry, man.
Would Albert
Hey, bro.
Einstein fuck his brother?
I think his cousin.
Sucked his
There's
cousin's
a cousin
dick?
marrying situation, I think.
Oh man.
Should I look up cousin people?
Cousin fuckers.
People who married cousins.
World famous cousin lovers.
Married
there's a
cousin.
lot of
I
them.
know, it's everyone.
There's a lot of them.
It's
Can you
you.
marry
You're-
your cousin?
you-
Cousin marriage.
You had sex with your
Wikipedia.
cousin, right, Kurt?
Wikipedia. Legal
I
status.
Yeah.
I just need to see list of famous
Which
ones.
I have a hot cousin.
What's your name?
I don't know. I don't mind admitting it.
What's your name?
Married cousins. Celebs.
Here's my thing. All my cousins are hot.
Celebs.
I don't know her name.
Rudy Giuliani.
She's real hot.
Oh, Jerry Lee Lewis did. Yeah. Albert Einstein. Wait, Rudy Giuliani's married to his cousin?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Rudy Giuliani married his cousin.
I hadn't heard that. That rules.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
he married Regina Peruggi, his second cousin.
Regina.
Vagina.
That's fucked up.
Second
never
cousin's
marry-
good. Second cousin's
Never
fine.
marry any of my second.
Second.
Do you have any hot second cousins?
Who knows? You probably don't even know all your second cousins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
You could just you're at the airport.
Still
You have
making
great
my-
chemistry with this lady. You look on Facebook. Why are you friends with my grandma? Shit. What do you mean? Dang.
We connected.
Albert Einstein, Prince Philip, Charles Darwin.
Who gives a shit, man?
Wait, it's saying something about Snoop Dogg.
Snoop
Okay.
Dogg fucks his cousin.
Who's Snoop Dogg married to? He's just cousins with.
His dad.
It was
Yeah, I
Charles
don't know.
Darwin. It was his cousin.
Yeah.
What was
He
that?
married his first cousin, Emma Wedgwood.
Natural selection.
They shared a grandfather, Josiah Wedgwood. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the president. That's what's crazy. Is like literally the president does it. So
That's fucking.
it's
weird.
literally great, and everyone like Eleanor
Great
Roosevelt's
men.
name was Eleanor Roosevelt before she got married. Like,
Great men fuck their cousins.
I mean, yeah.
I guess I'll never.
No
be
one
great.
cares. Everyone
I
loves
guess
it.
I'll never be president. Before leaving erotic vocabulary to discuss other forms of erotic behavior, should like to consider what seems to me a dominant characteristic, dominant, in the sexual life of West Texas. And this is the widespread tendency to confuse the genital with the anal. Inter Uranus et facies nascimur.
I'm always talking about
It's Latin. I don't know how to read Latin. And the
mouth.
general...
this. Nice.
Fuck you, bitch. I got some mouth. I got something I could do with my mouth and eyes. Fucking make eye contact with you.
He's
while
making the little
while I
clover.
suck
He's
your
making
head.
the little clover with his tongue. Right now.
I'm tying a cherry stem and talking.
He's making a little clover.
I'm making a clover. Bend over. Bars. The general feeling seems to have been that one could never afterward venture into that place without risking a physical and possibly a moral befoulment. Mention sex in West Texas and someone will be sure to say, I'm not going to talk about that crap. By far the commonest local response to my 3 novels has been, well, I liked the story, but I wish you'd left out all that other crap. The other crap being presumably the sexual description. Sex is clearly and frequently equated with waste products, and energy given to sex is thought to be energy wasted. Those who appear to believe that sexual fulfillment is more important than material success are generally referred to as trashy people, and books about such people are said to be trashy books. The most widely used terms of contempt are terms which combine an anal product with a suggestion of animality. Horse's ass, chicken shit, so just animal, dog fucker, you know. Though of course, the less eloquent dispense with even this subtlety and simply say, you asshole or you turd. I'm always saying you turd.
You turd.
Scatology is also widely used as a method of sexual intimidation.
Are you trying to sexually intimidate me right now?
With your poop? In its crude form, this generally involves the stupid flinging shit at the smart. For in the small town, the person with brains poses a direct threat to the masculinity or femininity of the person without them. Many a smart kid had his face pushed into a commode bowl at one time or another, and not a few have endured analgesic enemas and other rectal horrors.
Oh.
That's what they used to do? I have a bright friend who grew up in a rural area when outhouses were still in use. By the time he reached his second grade, his intelligence had marked him as dangerous, and on days when he had the temerity to answer questions in class, he would be ganged up on at recess and shoved through one of the holes in the men's outhouse down into the shit.
Whoa.
He was a senior in college when I met him, but he still showed a marked reluctance to answer questions in class. The type of scatological put-down which President Johnson is said to employ from time to time in his dealings with Kennedyites.
We love LBJ.
Yeah, dude, in his dealings with Kennedyites and Ivy Leaguers and his opponents in Congress. They may well have been learned in the hill country schoolyards of his youth. I myself once knew a basketball coach who dressed down his players while sitting on the commode. That's
Classic LBJ mode.
style.
Yeah, he peed on him.
He would piss on them.
I had a coach, he would pee on us.
I had a coach where he would fucking
That's
touch
how he'd
he'd
respect
suck
us.
us off. Yeah, your coach does that, right? There are, however, more subtle and more damaging aspects of the anal genital confusion. This is a big topic. In the late 40s and early 50s, adults still felt it incumbent upon them to stifle adolescent sexuality if at all possible, and a basic element in their strategy was to equate sex with shit, physical love with filth. Masturbation was filthy, and copulation, a process known to involve not one but two sets of human genitals, one could be filthier still. One might catch a repulsive disease or produce a repulsive baby whose life would be inevitably dark and squalid. Dang. Fortunately, most of us were not overly fastidious as to adolescence and managed to make some sexual progress despite the constant danger of contamination. Some progress, but not much. For the boys, losing one's virginity was an initiatory event, important but not especially pleasurable. Most of the boys in my hometown had accomplished it by the age of 14. 99% of them with the same accommodating girl.
What?
Damn, hell yeah. The town slam pig.
Accommodating.
The local slam pig, I believe, is the term. After the initiation had been undergone, most of us, convinced we had syphilis at the least, went home determined to rot quietly away. When while waiting for the fevers and the fits, we fell victim to the second element of the adult's strategy, athleticism. Damn. High school athletics were not easily seen through. When kept in perspective, of course, there is no reason to see through them. Sport is sport and lots of fun. There's nothing particularly bad about separating boys and girls in the afternoon and organizing them into teams and seeing to it that they burn off their surplus energies chasing one ball after another. Unfortunately, in most small towns, the perspective soon slips. The adults of the town, and particularly the men, tend to participate vicariously and overzealously in high school athletics, and to make them, in a sense, a form of sexual compensation. Their compensation. Their compensation. This, in its time, has its effect on the boys, for it is repeatedly made clear to them that the adults regard them as approvably and sufficiently masculine in proportion to how good they are at chasing the balls. Yeah, this guy's a sport ball guy. Football is the glory sport. Let's read that again. Football is the glory sport.
Let's go.
As practiced in the small town, it tends to point the male directly away from the female, toward the company of his athletic peers. The female is excluded and further demeaned by being thrown a sop, cheerleading, in which her only function is to applaud the prowess of the male. The most applaudable, of course, is the quarterback, despite the fact that he regularly hunches up behind the center in a somewhat sodomitic pose.
Pretty gay.
Pretty
Pretty gay
true.
what you're doing, bro.
Pretty sus.
It is kind of a game.
Football is the manliest of sports, and better a little symbolic sodomy than a lot of irresponsible fucking. Cool.
course.
So we all watch football so we don't get AIDS. Is the
Right.
point.
Syphilis.
Popcorn Andrew.
Right, where are we at?
If I exaggerate, how much more do we have in this? Holy shit.
It's good, though.
Yeah.
We ran out of time.
We're at an hour. It's
Right,
really
we got
good
plenty of
shit.
time.
We got plenty of time.
I've got 10 more pages.
That's a lot of pages.
Where are we at?
Fucking.
Right. If I exaggerate the extent to which the youth of the small towns were suckered with athletics, I exaggerate only a little. Most of my small town contemporaries spent their high school years trying desperately to be good athletes because the attitude of the adults had them quite convinced that their sexual identity depended upon their athletic performance. Some of them shed this conviction rather quickly once they were out of school, but others of them have not shed it yet and never will. Once in a while, of course, things turn out well. A few years ago, our local 11 won the state 1A championship, and the enraptured citizenry bought a commemorative cannon and set it on the courthouse lawn. A proud reminder, and probably the nearest thing to a penis ever to be exhibited in those parts. Get their ass.
Hell yeah.
Oh, he wrote Last Picture Show, the movie Last Picture Show.
Haven't
He
seen
wrote
it.
the book. It's basically
Don't know it.
that
Watch
book.
it.
That movie's funny because it's like these guys at the beginning, and they're on the football team, and they lost, and everybody's really mean to them, and like in the
that's
town,
good.
and they're like just teenagers. And everybody's like, "You lost the game! Like we're all mad at you."
That's funny.
Everywhere they go, everybody's so mad at them.
That rules. I'm
Just
gonna watch that.
Despite the argument from filth and the pressures of athleticism, the adults of the town were not really successful in their attempts to stifle adolescent sexuality. The best they could manage in that, with the help of religion, was to make us feel guilty about the whole business. The guilt didn't stop anyone, it just cut into the pleasure. Ironically, what really defeated the adults was their own social symbology, in which at this time the automobile was extremely important. All possible means might be used to deprive teenagers of sex, but it would be a sin against the class to deprive them of cars. And of course,
Yes.
when they gave us cars and they gave us the
Yes.
means to escape this, they gave us the means to escape the sexual prohibition. As soon as we got cars, we could join in the great Saturday night sport of pussy hunting, forging
hunting.
as far afield as only Holiday and Wichita Falls. The
Whoa.
area was heavily hunted, of course, and we seldom ran much to ground.
Whoa.
But we had lots of fun and learned a lot of things in the pursuit.
Have you ever gone out pussy hunting?
No, I've seen American Graffiti though. They're gonna do it.
I've never gone pussy.
You just
hunting.
drive around and you. It's just four guys getting really horny in
You
a
just
car.
yell
you
at
listen to the
women?
radio. Yeah. You see a lady in the car next to you and you guys look at each other and you fall in love
Go, "Give me
and
your
then
pussy."
you're like, oh man, and
Give
then
me
they drive
pussy.
away and you don't see them again.
Damn.
But then you see them again later and you're like, dang, that was the girl.
Oh yeah, I hunted your pussy earlier.
Right.
Pussy hunting.
One
huh?
time, my friend in college kept saying he was going on a pussy safari when we were at a party.
I've heard that one.
He goes, I'm going on a pussy safari.
Kurt's on a bit of a pussy safari
Yeah,
right now.
He's hung out with Ross.
You gotta stay hands inside the vehicle.
When desperate, there were always animals. Yeah, Popcorn Conrad.
When desperate, there are always animals.
This part, I was like, I want Conrad to read this part. I'm thinking of this part specifically.
Where's this?
Just I read the first line.
When desperate, there were always animals. I have written elsewhere about this aspect of small town sexuality, but since that text is somewhat obscure, perhaps I can be forgiven for quoting the relevant passage here. We could go down to the stock pans, Leroy suggested. Should I keep doing the voices?
I don't know.
There's a blind heifer down there we could fuck. There's enough of us we could hold her down. The prospect of copulation with a blind heifer excited the younger boys almost to frenzy. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is so fucking hot. Holy fucking shit.
Wait, the cow's blind?
But, oh, it's blind, they can't even see me. Couldn't identify me in a lineup. But Dwayne and Sonny,
And it
being
wouldn't be gay.
seniors, It's not gay either, because it's a heifer. But Dwayne and Sonny, being seniors, gave only tacit approval. They regarded such goings-on without distaste, but were no longer as rabid about animals as they had been. Yeah, they kind of lost interest.
They were really into fucking the cows.
I fucked that cow too much. I don't want to fuck it again. Sensible youths growing up in Talia soon learned to make do with what there was, and in the course of their adolescence, both boys had frequently had recourse to bovine outlets. Ew. At that, they were considered over-fastidious by the farm youth of the area. Oh, they did it too much. Who thought only dandies restricted themselves to cows and heifers. It was gay to fuck cows.
Right. But it's not as gay as being gay.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. You kidding me? The farm kids did it with cows, mares, sheep, dogs, and whatever else they could catch.
Oh.
Squirrels, mice, cats,
Oh.
raccoons, possums.
Oh.
This is not in the book. There were reports that a boy from Scotland did it with domesticated geese, but no one had ever actually witnessed it. It was common knowledge that the reason boys from the dairy farming communities were reluctant to come out for football was because it put them home too late for milking and caused them to miss regular connection with their milk cows. Oh, it sucks.
Regular connection.
So that's why farmers like it. Like, you look at a farmer and like, I love having a farm. And you're like, why? You have to wake up at 4 a.m.
You have that connection to the
Fucking
milk
be
cow.
awake for
To
19
those
hours a
bovine
day.
outlets.
You just fuck the
The bovine outlets.
They're fucking the bovine outlets. They're plugging the bovine outlets.
Yeah, they're plugging into the bovine outlets.
Oh, that sucks, man. That's crazy that all farmers fuck the cows.
Every single one does.
Every single farmer fucks the cows. That's how you get the best milk. That's so fucked up. That's so fucking fucked, man. That's so fucked. But I guess it's better than like
It's so funny because it's like
forced intercourse, forced entry.
right, exactly, and also like you think that now would be the highest point in time in history for cow fucking. It's like no, it has to be at its all-time low, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it has to be on a steep decline from all the fucking time.
Everyone's living on top of each other.
right.
We don't need cows.
But back in the day, I feel
That's fucked
throughout
up.
history, I think everybody's been fucking the cows.
Do you know about the Planet K on Cesar Chavez that has a horse and a donkey?
You were telling me about it one time.
Yeah, the story, they have a horse and a donkey there, but the story is that they were saved from like an animal fuck castle.
Oh.
Like a bestiality brothel, and it was like a rescue.
I thought it was just a regular brothel and they had them there.
No, it was like a
That
horse
makes
fucking
sense. Yeah.
shack,
Okay.
and they rescued it
Of course.
from a life of
And they definitely
prostitution.
don't do that at
Life
the
of-
smoke shop.
No,
they're upstanding citizens.
They
They're
definitely
not trashy at all.
they don't charge $75 to fuck the donkey at Planet
Yeah.
K. They definitely don't.
Right.
They definitely don't charge money to discreetly fuck the donkey at Planet K on Cesar Chavez. That's definitely not a service they offer. Don't go to Planet K.
Right. It's definitely not a veteran of the industry.
Don't go to Planet K with $75 cash and ask to go out back. Whatever you do, don't do that.
It's a mule party.
Yeah, a mule party. Many of the town kids were also versatile and resourceful. The only difficulty was that they had access to a smaller and less varied animal population. Even so, one spindly sophomore whose father sold insurance had once been surprised in ecstatic union with a roan cocker spaniel. Ew.
Oh.
I grew up with a cocker spaniel. I did try the peanut butter thing. I'll be straight up. I'll be straight up.
Butter on your biscuit?
Yeah, I put peanut butter on my wang. She didn't go for it.
Wow.
Yeah, so learned my lesson there.
Right.
Fuck. And a degraded youth from the north side of town got so desperate one day that he crawled into a neighbor's pig pen in broad daylight and did it with a sow. Would you rather do it with a cocker spaniel or a sow?
In broad daylight or
In broad daylight.
So.
The sow?
Yes.
Squealing though.
Hot as shit.
I say a blind heifer beats nothing, Leroy said, and no one actively disagreed with the sentiment. This is gross. That's from the last picture show.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is it good for the cows
Yeah, I think the cows, they get their hormones.
I bet it's negligible.
They create better milk because their hormones are surging from the intense love making. When the book was published, the passage involving the blind heifer was apparently regarded as hyperbole, another of my unkind cuts against my hometown. It was, however, sober realism.
This is Larry was pissed at quarter price books. This is the type of stuff he was talking about.
Yeah, he doesn't like this because it talks shit on Texas. Masturbation excluded, bestiality was the commonest and by far the safest method of obtaining sexual release available to adolescent boys in those days. Ugh. Indeed, if adults were tolerant of anything sexual, they were tolerant of bestiality.
Yeah,
or at least
better than jerking off.
Should bestiality be legal?
Who cares? Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
How
For some
legal is
reason,
it
I don't
now?
know. I guess I'm realizing that incest is less reprehensible than bestiality.
Right, because you can't even talk to the animal.
Yeah.
Right.
At least you garner consent
Sure.
from the...
Sure, man.
This is for my other podcast.
Garnering.
About garnering consent. They were at least passive towards bestiality. Less onus attached to it than masturbation, I would say. Incredible, though.
It's more
it seems.
chill than if you get caught jerking off. That's fucked up. But
That's
if you get caught
crazy.
fucking the cow, it's a little more chill.
That's fucking insane, dude. They'd rather see you fuck a cow.
That's what Larry's
whack
saying.
off. I guess that is realism. Stark realism or whatever you call
Frank.
it. Sober realism. He's being extremely frank. I'm not even from Texas and I'm a little appalled.
I just
Where
hope
is
there
it?
wasn't like a competitive edge to it.
Incredible though it seems, the belief that masturbation led to blindness and insanity had not quite died out by the 40s, and the campaign against the solitary vice was constant and vigorous. Animals, on the
The
other
solitary
hand,
vice.
the solitary vice is
I partake in the solitary vice.
you indulge in the solitary vice. Animals, on the other hand, were exempt from the protection of God and man, and for all concerned, a big mark in their favor was that they could not be impregnated. Ugh. That, come to think of it, was the only mark in their favor. Oh my god. It's more stuff about the anal genital confusion. We'll get into the anal genital confusion.
The origins of the anal genital confusion are not too difficult to understand. That the region would tend to produce a predominantly anal orientation is quite natural. It was, by all accounts, a hard region to settle, and only people with a strong retentive capacity could have hung on there and survived. An emphasis on accumulation was also natural, for the area originally gave very little in the way of natural provender. The summer was a time of almost frantic storing. Vegetables were canned, fruits preserved, and when cool weather came, pigs and beeves killed and hung up in the smokehouse. We never thought of Mother Nature as a fruitful female who was generous with herself. What one got from her was earned. From nature one got no sense of sex as gift, much less a sense that sex was something in which both partners could delight. If
It's
one
impossible for
observed
both people to
cattle,
like it.
horses, sheep, dogs, or chickens, one got the sense that sex was something aggressive males forced upon more or less reluctant females.
Damn.
That is, of course, the view of sex our parents held, or held at least when they were young. One assumes it was the view our grandparents held, but about all we know about the sexual beliefs of our grandparents is what little can be deduced from the size of their families. Unfortunately, the fact that most of them had large families tells us little about their sex lives. Procreation had a clear social value on the frontier. For strength lay in numbers, and children were needed to help with the work. Contraception was primitive or non-existent. There were no media distractions, and the church house was 30 miles away in the nearest town. If women thought of themselves in terms of a sexual role, the role was clearly motherhood, and in one's children came one's pleasure and fulfillment. Sex itself was a privilege for the male, a duty for the female. It is hard indeed to think where the pioneer woman would have picked up such a sophisticated notion as that of a sexual role, and isolated and overworked as she was, it is even harder to see what good it would have done her if she had picked it up.
So rule 1 about sex is the girl hates it.
The girls hate it. Yeah.
All the girl likes about it is that it might get her pregnant.
Motherhood. Yeah.
That's good. That's good
The
messaging.
promise of motherhood. Yeah, great.
The promise of
We're
motherhood.
in the home stretch here.
The joy. Last 8
We're in the
pages.
home stretch here. Not even.
Final 8.
Not even. This one's the end. Okay. Years ago, someone pointed out that Texas is hell on women
As
and
fast as
horses.
possible.
He was wrong about horses, for most horses are considered to be valuable and are treated well. He was absolutely
fuck
right
them.
about women, though. The country was simply hell on them and remained so until fairly recently. Arguable. The pioneer woman had to cope with deprivation and physical hardship, but I am not sure but what the women who came to maturity in Texas in the 20s and 30s were even worse off. They had to cope not with raw nature, but with a new and different concept of womanhood, one for which nothing in their early training had prepared them. They suddenly found themselves expected to be the equals of men, not merely socially and politically, but sexually as well. For a girl whose mother had been a pioneer, that leap would almost always be too great, particularly since in the most cases she would by this time have moved to one or another of the small towns and fallen under the sexually crippling influence of small town fundamentalism. The same saddening story filters down to one from the sons and daughters of women who are now in the late middle age. They got along okay with their husbands until they learned they were supposed to have orgasms too. After which there was generally confusion and distress.
You can't let your wife find out.
You can't let your wife find out about orgasms.
She
Yeah.
can't.
No.
She can't learn about coming.
She doesn't. Yeah. No, that would be bad.
You're like, no, you don't do that.
How is the female to switch in one generation from an orientation which sees the act of love as a duty to one which sees it as a pleasure? It cannot easily be done. And perhaps it cannot be done at all unless the woman has a husband who is sensitive to her. Most West Texas husbands in the generation were notably insensitive to their wives, and I find it difficult to believe that very many of them even wanted to understand their wives' sexual dilemma. Understanding would have increased responsibility, and most of them seem to feel themselves heavily enough burdened with female demands as it was. And as the women learned that they were supposed to have sexual privileges too, the domestic life of the town became more and more uneasy. A sexual separatism developed, with men hanging out with the men at ball games, bird hunts, etc., and the women hanging out with the women at socials, bridge parties, and the church activities. At times in the 40s, one might have got the impression that men and women alike were basically homosexual, but that was hardly the case.
homosocial?
They were mutually frightened and inhibited and suffered the emotional crises that people probably always suffer in periods of rapid transition. Men who were quite content with the 19th century were suddenly having to cope with women who had begun to take an interest in the 20th, and coping wasn't simple. Then in the 40s came affluence. Money, it was not money, period. It was not the solution to what ailed them, but to men and women who had been poor all their lives, it offered a novel escape. Until the 40s, a great many Texans had been poor all their lives, and when they begun to come into money, it was natural that they should overrate it and expect the wrong things of it. They had imagined it would make them happier with one another, and they resented one another all the more when it didn't. Men made money and women spent it. If one spent unstintingly, sexual property might be disguised. Spending might accomplish what fucking hadn't, especially if one went at the spending regularly and passionately. New houses, new cars, new clothes, wall-to-wall carpets, and wall-to-wall bric-a-brac gadgets and appliances. Living room sets so uniformly ghastly, one would have liked to burn the factory that made them. These were the order of the day in the 40s. Popcorn, Conrad.
Popcorn me. The affluence reached far down into the middle class, where most of us were growing up. But perhaps its most interesting effects were to be observed not among the many who were beginning to be reasonably prosperous, but among the comparative few who in a few short years got unreasonably rich. Most of these got rich in oil or in businesses related to oil.
Oh, yeah.
Beverly Hillbillies.
You do not, in a few short years, get rich in cattle. And indeed, by this time,
Yep.
it was already too late. Damn straight.
Yep.
Goddamn right.
Yep.
By this time, it was already too late to get rich in cattle, no matter how many years you had. Before the 40s, before the 40s were over, we had with us those new bulwarks of southwestern masculinity, the millionaires, our world famous nouveau riche. Nouveau riche. Nouveau riche. I've heard that before.
Nice.
You're not bragging. The world thought they were pretty funny, too, as they went about waving tokens of munificence and seeking desperately for the one great purchase, capital P, proper noun purchase, that would establish their value in the eyes
Like
of
the
all.
Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah, for sure. The joke turned sour only recently when one of them got to be president.
Let's go!
Fucking suck it, dude.
Let's go! LBJ.
LBJ, the first fat cat president.
Let's go. The first president to pee on a guy.
First president to shit and piss on his secretary.
So, wait, have you heard he visited the Taj Mahal?
And
Have you heard about what he did at the
on
Taj
the
Mahal?
Raj? No, I don't know.
So when you go to the Taj Mahal, first off, it's a grave for a woman,
Oh,
right? It's a large scale grave for a woman, and a guy made it because he was so sad that she
Yeah.
died. I'm gonna make a really big grave for her. And so, and there's like a big dome, and so LBJ's touring the dome, and they're like, "This is the dome," and there's an echo or whatever, and then he goes like, "Yeehaw!" and then like echoes.
I thought you were gonna say like farted or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
Screams.
Yeah.
You know-
He does a cowboy whoop. It's described as some kind of cowboy hoot or something. And I was like, what the? But that's the type of coarse man.
Yeah, he would like fart in meetings.
Yeah.
He was always burping. That shirt call, when he
Yeah.
calls the shirt company, he burps into the phone. Burping into the phone's good.
Yeah, he needs room for his dick in the pants.
I need you to let it out around my bunghole. My ball, it rides up my crotch. He's just bragging about having a big penis. LBJ had a big penis. Nouveau riche. Where was I? The world thought they were pretty funny too, as they were.
Until
Tokens of munificence. Till one of them became president. The era of the big spenders is now almost over here, and were it not that Mr. Johnson's behavior so continually calls it to mind, one would probably be inclined to treat the nouveau of the 40s and 50s rather sentimentally, as one treats a vanishing breed. Amid the bland Texas middle class, our vulgar rich can seem baroque and delightful, and indeed certain of them are delightful. Delightful.
I find your manners delightful.
I find these billionaires to be absolutely delightful.
This Elon Musk fellow, I find him
I
delightful.
find him to be delightful.
The way he acts, a lot of people hate it. I find it delightful.
You may find him baroque, but I find him delightful. As a class, however, they exhibit all the difficulties of the desperately confused, and they are dangerous in proportion to the amount of power they wield. They are frequently very able and very strong people, but I have yet to meet one whose abilities or whose strength counterbalances his insecurity. To reassure themselves, they brag and deal and buy, but the nerve of self-doubt remains always exposed, and the slightest pressure on it can bring them near to panic. They will do anything to win love, but they usually fail at it because the fear of opening themselves is stronger than their desire to be loved.
Whoa.
Whenever
Whoa.
possible, yeah.
Howard Hughes.
He's hitting you with some
Listen
shit.
to this, Howard Hughes.
Yeah, man. McMurtry with the shit. They will do anything to win love. Whenever possible, they will open their wallets instead, and most of them end by subsuming all relationships into one. The relation of owner to owned.
Let's go.
What cannot be owned, they destroy or ignore. Damn. It's like the judge. Like LBJ, they're most of them pseudo-ranchers. In Texas, a ranch is the equivalent of a distinguished genealogy. It establishes one's connection with the past.
Where's your ranch,
That's
Elon?
A lot of people have
What's
ranches.
your ranch, Elon?
Ranches, no livestock.
What is your brand?
What's your ranch? Find your ranch. Here we go. Here it is better to be a drugstore cowboy than no cowboy at all. What's a drugstore cowboy?
He just hangs out at the...
You just hang out at the...
He bought his hat there, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Got it. You bought your
Something
clothes.
like that.
Even the rich, who don't take money lightly, know that it is a lighter thing than land. And many a wealthy veteran of the oil patch has smoothed over his most basic doubts about his own value by buying a valuable piece of land and putting a few toy cattle on it. Nice. Everybody has a...
We all know your cows are fake.
Your cows are
We know
fucking
your
fake.
cows are vanity cows, and
Those
they're
are-
fake.
Those are toys.
Oh, you have longhorns? No one fucking wants those.
Your cows are mere toys. Of course, the separatism which one saw in the small town in the 40s had existed on the frontier, but then it was a separatism based on work. Men's work took them away from women, and most of them were content with that arrangement. Anyone who has spent much time with cowboys will have observed that cowboys are a good deal more comfortable with one another than they are with their women. But I think it would be facile to assume that from this that most cowboys are repressed homosexuals.
Let's go.
Most cowboys are repressed heterosexuals.
Let's go.
Oh.
Sorry.
Did you ever think about that?
Repressed heterosexuals.
Did you ever think that they're repressed heterosexuals?
Yeah. You gotta come out as straight. What is this? The tradition of the shy cowboy who is more comfortable with his horse or with his comrades than with his women.
I'm more comfortable with my horse.
We
don't have
horse,
sex. We don't have
my
sex.
horse, my comrades, and then my women.
I just want to hang out with my horse. I'm gonna be in the stable with my horse.
Not fucking.
Don't come in. Don't come
not
in.
fucking.
Do not come in.
We talk. Cowboy.
I sleep with my horse.
We just sleep.
I sleep in the stable with my horse.
Cowboys express themselves most naturally and indeed most beautifully through their work.
I like to express myself through my work.
When horseback, they perform extraordinarily difficult acts with ease and precision and grace. As the years pass, they form very deep bonds with the men and the horses that they work with.
Yes.
But I think the reason these friendships, mateships, and the Australians call them, are so relaxed and so lasting is because they are non-sexual and offer a relief from the sexual tensions of the household. The cowboy's work is at once his escape and his fulfillment. And what he often seeks to escape from is the mysterious female principle, a force at once frightening and attractive. Damn. This is the whole reason I do this podcast.
Right.
To
exactly.
Escape the mysterious female principle.
So true.
That's so funny. It's at once frightening and attractive. Couldn't agree more. The basic difficulty, I think, is that the cowboy lacks a style that would put him at ease with women and women at ease with him. His code has prepared him to think of women not as they are, nor even as they were, but in terms of a vague 19th century idealization to which not even the most proper plainswoman could really conform. The discrepancy between what the cowboy expected of women and what they needed of him accounts for a lot of those long rides into the sunset, as the drifting cowboy drifts away, not so much from what he might get, from what he might want, as from what he is not sure how to get. Fuck. Women shook his confidence because it was a confidence based on knowing how to behave in a man's world, and even the West isn't entirely a man's world anymore. Home stretch, last paragraph. You want to hit it or you want me to?
Oh, you do it.
All right.
Where is it?
Take her home.
Just that?
Yeah.
Amid such tensions, my generation grew up. If we escaped permanent imprisonment and an obsolete sexual orientation, we escaped it by the skin of our teeth. And I think much of the credit for that escape must go to the movies, or at least to the media. Where else were we to get the ideas about sex that had as much force as the ideas that were pressed on us at home or in church? In movies, we saw women kissing back and realizing early that the female might be responsive rather than reluctant. The images we saw may have left us slightly more visually oriented than is good, but they convinced us at least that sex was not necessarily something to be frightened of, and that was more than we could have learned at home. Though it seems incredible, we probably derived a more realistic view of women from the movies than we got from our home life and our social experience. This may, of course, be a chicken or the egg sort of argument, for no doubt movies were changing women as rapidly as they were changing our ideas about them. At any rate, they gave us images and examples to set against the repressive dicta we all inherited. But, as I said earlier, I do not want to write about us as adults here. Our encounters with and part in the sexual revolution of the 50s and 60s, our proclivities for bohemianism, adultery, divorce, and other once undreamt of novelties, there must await another occasion. It is time now to have a look at the landscape. It may lack a piquancy of our sexual customs, but as many a traveler can attest, there is a great deal of it to be looked at.
Damn.
And that's and he does, yeah, that last paragraph is just kind of being like, and the next one is really good.
And in
And you should
conclusion-
read the next one,
In
too.
conclusion, read the next.
The
thing.
next one actually kind of relates to this, even though it's really boring.
Man,
So, yeah, that
great.
was that one.
That was great. I
Yeah.
like how I like whenever stuff is the same. When you ever realize shit's the same.
Right.
Like kids saying cuss words.
Kids say the darndest thing.
Kids do say the darndest things, and they've always been saying the darndest things.
No.
So thank you. Anyway, in conclusion,
Great work.
books are good for you.
Books are back.
Books are back in a major way, and they're not going anywhere. And what you need to do is, help the cause. Join the faction of Thought Warriors. Email us books, mail us books,
Nice.
and be good. Be blessed. Have a wonderful Easter, for He has risen.
He's risen indeed.
He is risen. All right.